Hola, hola, mis amores, and welcome back to your favorite channel for learning Spanish, Everyday Español, conmigo, Profe Madison. So today, we're going to focus on a little bit more grammar today, and we're going to focus on present tense verb conjugation. And if you're looking at me like, I don't know what half the words you just said meant, that's okay. Maybe you're in class and somebody's like, they're talking about conjugation and I just don't get it. That's okay. I'm here to help you conquer and master present tense conjugation in Español. All right, so you're looking at me and you're like, okay, I feel like I've got a ton of input in Spanish and I keep hearing slight changes of words, but I can't figure out why words that sound so similar change slightly. So I'm here to talk to you guys about present tense conjugation in Español. So the first thing we have to learn and to understand is what a verb is. A verb in Spanish is an action word. It tells us who is doing a thing. So let's brainstorm some examples in Spanish. So a verb could be hablar, which means to talk or to speak. Another verb could be caminar, which means to walk. Another verb could be comer, which means to eat. Those three examples are showing you an action, right? Eating, walking, talking. So every verb in Spanish in the quote-unquote infinitive form automatically ends in AR, ER, or IR. So, for example, in the words I just gave you, hablar ends in AR. So that means to speak. So another example, I said caminar. Caminar ends in AR. So that means to walk. Another one that I mentioned, I said comer, which means to eat. Having that AR, ER, or IR at the end of the word automatically adds that word to in front of the word. So instead of eat, comer is to eat. Instead of talk, hablar is to talk. So the process of conjugating verbs in the present tense in Spanish automatically lets us know who is doing that action based on the ending of the word. So just changing the slight ending lets us know a lot about who is doing the action and when they did the action. All right, so to start, let's start off by just focusing on words that end in AR. Okay, so what's the process of conjugation? So step one, it's very simple. Have the verb in its infinitive form, so having the AR attached to it. Step two, you're going to completely take off that AR of the word. So you're left kind of with, we call the stem. We are left with habl. All right, so now we're stuck with this stem, habl. But I need to know who is doing the talking. Is it we? Are we talking? Is it you talking? Is it I talking? These specific conjugation endings for AR let us know who is doing the talking. So the endings for AR verbs are all the same, okay? Any verb that ends in AR and you want to talk in the present tense, follow these patterns. Yo, the ending for yo for AR verbs is always going to end in O. Tu ending for AR verbs is always going to end in AS. To say he or she or you formal, usted formal, the ending is always for AR verbs going to be A. All right, so let's go through them with a little chant, I guess. But I go o as a, amos ais an. Okay, o as a, amos ais an. Okay, these are our endings that's going to let us know who is doing the action. Let me give you a couple examples, okay? So if I say this sentence in Spanish, I want you guys to let me know or try to think about who is doing it, okay? So if I say, camino a la escuela. Camino a la escuela. And you're like, okay, I see it. Camino ends in O. Who is walking to school? That ending of the verb, of the word, lets us know who's doing the walking to school. So it ends in an O. Thinking back, who's doing it? Drum roll. I am walking to school because I said camino. What's really great about learning Spanish conjugation is now you don't have to always rely on the subject pronouns to be in front of the word to let you know who is doing it. Because a lot of times in Spanish, they don't always have the subject pronoun in front. So you can say, oh wait, it didn't have a yo in front, but it ended in O. Okay, all right, I got it. I am doing the action. If I said, hablamos mucho, who is talking a lot? Who? We're going to look at that ending of the word, hablamos. Who's doing it? The answer is we are talking a lot, okay? So if we're looking at hablamos mucho, we're looking at that ending and it ends in amos, okay? And according to our verbs that end in AR, if anything ends in amos, it's automatically letting us know that we are doing that action. So in this case, the answer is we talk a lot. Hablamos mucho. What's really great about the AR verb endings is that, okay, you're like, all right, I got it. I can categorize a word based on AR or ER, IR. And you're looking at the AR and you're like noticing a pattern. If you can pick up on the patterns, you're going to do great. So words that end in AR, their conjugation endings almost always, minus the yo, almost always have an A in them. So you can look at a word that's already conjugated and tell if it is an ER, IR verb, or if it's an AR verb based on that ending. All right, got my daily notification to complete my Unacademy lesson. So let's do that really quick and see if I can notice any of the patterns of present tense conjugation in some of these lessons. All right. Okay, picture of a table, el restaurante, okay. Picture of a food item, café. If I have a picture of pizza or coffee, it's definitely coffee. Pizza, pizza, okay. Pasta, pasta, picture of pasta. Café, pizza, matching, agua. Wonderful. You guys just helped me complete my Unacademy lesson for the day. And what's so great about this is it gives you the streak. Because, you know, we got to maintain that streak, okay? So it's a great way to watch these videos with me and then get additional practice outside and make it more game-like and to maintain that streak. All right, let's get into that second category of verbs, the ER, IR verbs. We like to clump these ones together because the verb conjugations are almost identical. So again, Spanish is all about noticing and recognizing some patterns. So if you can pick up on the patterns for AR, verb conjugations, all this in the present tense, then you're going to be able to pick up on the ER, IR verb present tense conjugations. They're so similar. But let me know if you can pick up what's slightly different about these endings. Let's start off with the verb vivir. Vivir, okay? Vivir means to live. You're like, how do you know that means to live? Huh? Remember from the beginning of the video, that IR automatically attaches the to in front of that word. So step one, we categorized it. It's an ER, IR verb. Our next step, we need to take off that IR. So we are left with viv, V-I-V. And you're like, okay, that is my stem. That is my root of the word that I'm working with right now. So let's learn the verb conjugations for ER, IR words. So if I wanted to say I live, yo vivo, ending is always going to be an O. If I want to say you live, I would say vives. Ending is going to be ES, always for words that end in ER or IR. Now, if you want to say he or she or you formal live, you would say vive, just an E at the end. And again, this works for all verbs that end in ER or IR. Now, this next one for nosotros, we. This is the only one that's slightly different between ER and IR. But since we're focusing on vivir right now, okay, the word or the ending for the verb vivir in the present tense is vivimos, imos, I-M-O-S, imos. Now, if it's an ER verb, the ending for nosotros is hemos, E-M-O-S. All right, so let's do some examples, okay? So I'm going to do verbs that end in both IR and ER so that you guys can see they're pretty much the same, okay? So I'm going to start with this one. Comemos hamburguesas mucho. Comemos hamburguesas mucho. So somebody eats hamburgers a lot. Who is eating hamburgers a lot? Let's look at the end of the word comemos. The ending of E-M-O-S lets us know, for one, that it's an ER verb, but also it's going to let us know who is doing it. Am I doing it? No, because that would be yo. That would be an O at the end. Is it you? No, because if it were you, it would be ES. So hemos is saying we. So we eat hamburgers a lot. Comemos hamburguesas mucho. All right, another example. If I said, viven en México. Viven en México. Who lives in Mexico? Who? You might be like, I don't know. No, you do know. You can do it. I know you can. Look at the end of the word viven. Okay, it ends in en. So is that saying I live in Mexico? No, because the ending for I is always going to be yo, an O. Is it you live in Mexico? No, because if it's an ER, it would be ES. So it's not you. In this case, viven in Mexico means they live in Mexico because of the ending en. And our final example for this ER-IR verb ending is going to be escribo mucho. Escribo mucho. Somebody writes a lot. Who writes a lot? Looking at the ending of that verb, who is doing that action? Who is writing? That's right. The answer is I. I am writing a lot. How do I know that? Because it ends in a O. Whew. All right, you guys successfully completed the present tense conjugation en español. What's so great about this is that once you start picking up on these patterns, your world is completely changed. You're going to start noticing how verbs endings are changing depending on who is doing the action. And what's so great about recognizing this is that you don't have to rely necessarily on the subject pronoun to tell you who is doing that action. Just look at the end of the word. So hopefully that you guys notice between the conjugation endings for AR and ER-IR is that they're almost identical, except the ER-IR, you just switch everything out that was an A and make it an E. So if you start picking up on these patterns, the world of learning Spanish is all about patterns and it's all around you guys. I am so proud of you guys today. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, but also I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Your homework is to write down 3 sentences in the present tense conjugation for AR verbs. You can pick any in the world that you would like. And you need to write 3 sentences using ER-IR verbs, but you're conjugating. I don't care who you are saying. If you want to say they live, I don't care. But I want you guys to interact with me on this video a little bit. Do your homework, comment down below your sentences, and then we can review them and talk about them, and I can see if we're making some common mistakes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys loved this video. If you did, share it, like it, send it to somebody that you might know is struggling with present tense conjugation. And I'll see you next time on this channel, Everyday Español, for more. Download, subscribe, like, and adios. Me voy.